Dubai has an ambitious space exploration agenda, much of which stems from the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Centre, with initiatives like KhalifaSat, the Emirates Mars Mission 2021 and the Mars City Development. Omran Sharaf is the project director of Emirates Mars Mission. He discussed the strategy behind these projects and shed light on all the milestones that have been achieved to date. Welcome to Dubai Works, a business podcast about the innovators, the products, the services and trending topics, loving Dubai's take on the business stories that matter. My name is Richard Fitzgerald. I'm the founder of Augustus Media, publishers of Lovin Dubai, Lovin Saudi and Smashy TV. Each week we'll be interviewing the dynamic business leaders of Dubai. Good morning, Omran.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us here.
So your full title is Omran Sharaf, the project director for Hope Project for the mission to Mars in the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Centre. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's quite a I've never seen someone with such a cool job before.
Thank you very much. It is cool, but it has its challenges also.
I'm sure. So how did it all start? Like, how's it come about and what is the mission to Mars?
So the Emirates Mars mission actually, it was announced by His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid in July 2014.
Yeah.
However, of course, there was some work that happened before that, and that was basically just after the launch of our second satellite, Dubai Sat-2, in November 2013. Actually, the day before the launch, we were approached by His Highness's team and they told us that His Highness would like us to look or consider exploring the possibility of the UAE sending a probe to Mars.
Yeah.
And
where was the Sat-2 going? Where's that?
So Dubai Sat-2 is an Earth observation satellite.
Okay.
It's around Earth. It's our second satellite. Before that, we had Dubai Sat-1, which was also an Earth observing satellite. It's a remote sensing satellite that we jointly built with our South Korean partners. So Dubai Sat-1 was a more like a know-how transfer program in which myself and the team, we were actually based in South Korea. And we worked on its development. Our contribution, the Emirati contribution to that mission was about 30%. And that was launched in 2009 successfully. The resolution of the images taken by Dubai Sat-1 was 2.5 meter resolution. So the follow-on mission was Dubai Sat-2. And it was basically, we started Dubai Sat-2 just before the launch of Dubai Sat-1. But the requirement from His Highness at that time was basically, now it has to be a joint development. So Dubai Sat-2, and it has to be something better than Dubai Sat-1. So we actually built a totally new system platform for Dubai Sat-2, which was able to achieve an image resolution of 1 meter resolution, so much higher resolution, much higher capability when it comes to downlink, to acquiring images at different times of the day with agility. Okay. And also, it was 50-50 contribution. So it was 50% Emirati contribution and 50% the South Korean partners. It was more of like a joint development.
Yeah.
So it was like the next phase. And then, so that when that was launched in November 2013, just before that, His Highness's team approached us and told us basically that His Highness would like us to look into Mars and to think about and look at the different options and if it's something feasible that we can do. At the same time, actually, because one thing we have at the center, like before the launch of any satellite, we usually have like another program that starts. Yeah. So KhalifaSat was already basically approved and the team was working on it. So
before we get into that, because that's a big exciting launch in Japan recently, how advanced are having satellites? Like, the UAE is a very relatively young country.
Yes.
Having these satellites around the world, that Earth observation, does every country have one? Like, what sort of investments are we talking about, and how innovative is this in this day and age?
So, when it comes to Earth observation satellites, not all or a lot of nations have it. There's a good number of nations that own the system, but not a lot. Many nations also procure them. In our case here, now we build them.
Yeah, amazing.
From the investment point of view, you can build it for really expensive, or you can build it for a very cost-effective, basically amount of investment.
But essentially, you need to have that kind of vision, that dedicated resource, and
yes.
And the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center, is that something that was there before, since 2009, or is it something that's kind of come on board?
So the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center was actually established in 2006.
Okay.
It used to be called the Emirates Institution for Advanced Science and Technology. It was renamed in 2015 to the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. The main purpose of that was actually His Highness's vision was he wanted to build the science and technology sector in Dubai. We are talking about a knowledge-based economy. We're talking about the post-oil economy. So if you want sustainable development, you cannot have it without science and technology being part of your knowledge-based economy. Why? Because it drives innovation, it drives creativity, and makes you competitive also. Dubai has grown a lot in the field of real estate, finance, banking, and so on. But we had sort of a gap there. The government has invested a lot in sending students to study engineering and so on. But the other aspect, or the other side, which when it comes to sciences, people had limited career path. Okay. So His Highness wanted to start a program that will stimulate the science and technology sector in Dubai, a catalyst for it. And the best option was space. Why? Because if you want to build a space mission, you need to have an electrical engineer, you need to have a computer engineer, you need to have someone who studied science, either physics, chemistry, or math, and so on. So you actually hit all these sort of birds with one stone, at the same time. And at the same time, it inspires the young generation.
Absolutely. Many people always would say that they want to be astronauts and go to space as children. So it attracts talent as well.
Yes, exactly. And so His Highness's vision was basically to use the space as a driver to stimulate the science technology sector and to build it.
Yeah, interesting. And going back to the Mars mission, what stage is that project at, and what's your what's the project hope about?
Okay, so actually, if you allow me to go back to the sort of the history of the mission and how it started. So, as I mentioned, so basically towards the end of 2013, His Highness met with us, and basically to give us his requirements. After he asked us to look into it and think about it, he gave us very clear directions with regards to this mission. The first was that he said that I would like us to reach Mars before the 2nd of December 2021, which is the 50th anniversary of the UAE. Wow. Why? We'd like to send a very strong message to the Arab youth and to the youth of the region that if a country like the UAE is able to reach Mars in less than 50 years, you guys can do much more than that.
That's incredible.
A region that has more than 100 million youth in it. That's a lot of potential, a lot of capacity, a lot of capability. If these set of skills are not being invested in the right places, it will either leave the region, those talents will leave the region, or it will be used in the wrong ways. And the region, to be very honest, has been going through a really, really tough time the past few years. If you look at, for example, this region more than 800 years ago, it was a symbol of tolerance. It was generating knowledge. It was active in spreading knowledge. It was a land of civilization. People of different backgrounds, different cultures lived together, built this region, came up with new knowledge. So they were focused on serving humanity. Things changed in the region. And the message that the UAE government sent is like, we need to start focusing on building our nations, regardless of our differences. So this is one of the objectives of the mission. Yeah. The second requirement His Highness gave to us was basically build it, don't buy it. Start where others have ended. Learn from others, because it's the first time that we go to Mars. Mars is difficult, and 50% of the missions that have been to Mars have failed.
Interesting.
So he's like, partner up with different entities, but it has to have basically knowledge transfer, and there needs to be an significant Emirati contribution, and also to preserve the identity of the mission, to come up with a new platform, rather than just going and buying a mission. The third requirement from His Highness was the science has to be unique. It shouldn't be a replica of what others did before. We need to come back and serve humanity by bringing new knowledge to them. Mars as a planet, scientists think that it might have been similar to Earth more than 4 billion years ago. Something went wrong there that made the planet basically lose its atmosphere, turn into a toxic planet, a dead planet basically. So us better understanding what happened in Mars will help us better understand what happened, what's happening around us and what's happening on our planet also. And the fourth requirement by His Highness was basically, I need to encourage the youth to go into sciences. Basically, I mean, this was the first science-focused mission for the UAE. We had previous missions, as I mentioned, Dubai Sat 1, Dubai Sat 2, and the other maybe communication satellites that have been launched by different companies in the UAE. But they were more focused on certain applications, some have commercial, let's say, focus, and some have more like urban planning, environmental focused applications. But he wanted something to stimulate and encourage the Emirat youth to go into sciences, to study math, physics, chemistry, and to basically make their career focus on just generating knowledge, something new, and to serve humanity. So through this mission, he wanted us to start that. And he gave us 100 days to come up with basically a detailed plan of how we're going to be doing that.
This was in 2013?
That was in 2014, basically. So after that, it was towards the end. So in 2014, we had 100 days to come up with that.
Okay.
And we gave him the plan, and His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed bin Sheikh Mohammed announced the mission in July 2014.
So it was approved, basically, and you've been working on it since?
Yes. Yeah. So after the announcement, we finished making things official and start working, finding partners, working with partners, and so on. The mission is on track. We have completed the designs of the spacecraft. We have completed the designs of the scientific instruments. We have 3 science instruments on our mission. One is a visible camera with actually not just a camera for the sake of taking a picture and saying we reached Mars. No, actually it has scientific applications. Like the bands that we've selected is something the scientific community needs. Yeah. We have an infrared instrument and an ultraviolet instrument. All 3 together will be collecting data of the Martian atmosphere. We'll be studying so what's unique about this mission, we'll be studying the relationship between the lower atmosphere and the upper atmosphere of Mars and the escape rates of hydrogen and oxygen.
Interesting. So to shed light on things that are unknown.
Yes.
And things that might have gone wrong in the past.
Exactly. And basically, so what's unique about this mission is going to be the international scientific community for the first time will be able to get a holistic view of the Martian atmosphere at different times of the day.
Incredible.
And at different seasons. Because Mars, it has 4 seasons like Earth.
Yeah.
And one day on Mars is 24 hours and about almost 40 minutes. So there are some data that is related to the atmosphere that's being collected currently, but it's at a very specific time that's set in a specific season. So it's not a holistic view. So what UAE is bringing is that uniqueness.
It's amazing. So it's actually an exciting project globally for people who've studied Mars for years. They'll be interested to see the feedback.
Yes.
So we're here at the beginning of 2019, less than 2 years away from the mission. Will it launch will it launch before December? And how long does it take to get there? And how long will the what would I call it? The spaceship?
Spacecraft, yeah.
Spacecraft.
Or probe. Yeah.
The probe. How long will it be on the planet and collecting data?
Okay. So as I said, so we've completed the designs and we are currently in the testing phase. So this testing phase will continue till the day before we launch. So for the next year and a half, we'll be actually testing. It's scheduled to launch in July, in basically summer 2020. The journey will take about 7 months, so we should reach Mars by early 2021, which will give us enough time to calibrate the scientific instruments, collect data, analyze the data, and hopefully come up with new significant findings and announcements about Mars before the 2nd of December 2021.
Oh yeah, so 2.5 years away, or longer. Yeah. Interesting. That's incredible. So what sort of partnerships have you done? How are people involved in this, and what else is taking place on a day-to-day basis?
So because the UAE, it's the first time we actually send a mission to Mars, there's a lot to be learned, So we have our experience in building Earth observation satellites, and we are using that experience in building the mission, but then there's a lot of things that we need to learn. So we've partnered up with the University of Colorado Boulder and Arizona State University, and also University of California, Berkeley, in different aspects of the mission. Our basically main partner is University of Colorado at Boulder, in which they are working closely with the team and helping us build the capability and getting the know-how transfer in the areas that we don't have experience in.
So would some of their professors and some of their students come over here? Would you guys go there
Yes.
for knowledge sharing and things like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's basically people that are part of the university but have worked in different missions before, so and as a university, their job is to generate knowledge and share knowledge, and that's how we're trying to do it.
Okay, and there was huge excitement at the end of last year when KhalifaSat was launched. Is that project related, and what was the kind of learnings from that?
Well, for us, KhalifaSat is an extremely important milestone, especially for the UAE space industry. It was the first satellite that was fully designed and developed in the UAE. For us, it was a milestone that we had to achieve and go through. And also it tells you about basically the maturity level that we have within the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center when it comes to the team that's working on space systems. It was like a final examination when it comes to building Earth observation satellites. And definitely the knowledge and the team that's working on KhalifaSat is actually the same team that's working on the Emirates Mars mission and the other projects also we have at the center, So because we have experts in different areas, in different fields, and each project goes through a different phase. So certain engineers are needed at the beginning of the project, but then they are actually needed less at certain points in that project, so they start working on a different project. So the nice thing about the Emirates Mars mission, every single person at the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center is part of that mission. Every single person is working on that mission. And we have
a collective effort.
Yes, we have more than 200 employees at the center.
Interesting.
And we are 100% Emiratis at the center. And I would like to say more than 40% of our employees are women.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
incredible.
Yeah. If you look at the Emirates Mars mission, for example, I have 8 deputies in the mission, and 3 of my deputies are women. And the reason why they are there is not because they're women, but because they earned it.
Yeah.
And it's something that we are very proud of also. And from experts to engineers to the science team, we have basically women working in different fields in the center. So
essentially, in the past less than 15 years, this institution has been created. People who wouldn't have had the opportunity to learn and work in such an environment have been educated and are now employed and working on this huge project.
Yes.
It's remarkable.
And one thing also that we have as part of the Emirates Mars mission, just to go back to His Highness's vision also. I mean, he said it before. He said it that going to Mars is not an object. It's not our main objective. For His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, basically, Mars is a mean for a bigger objective. As I said, it's to stimulate and build the science and technology sector in the UAE, to support the creative and innovative and the competitive knowledge-based economy in Dubai and the UAE. So as part of the mission, we actually have different programs. Part of it is targeted towards sending students abroad to work over the summer with experienced and well-known scientists from around the world on things related to Mars science and space science in general. We have different programs that we have in the UAE for the students when it comes to like workshops and space camps and so on. We have Teachers Ambassadors program in which we made actually the teachers in schools part of the Emirates Mars mission. And on top of that, we made the professors in the universities, and the universities are part of our science team. There's another thing that we started in the mission, which is basically about supporting Emirati startups in the field of science and technology.
Yeah.
So basically, Emirati startups can come, and we're already working with few. And be part of the mission and working different aspects of the Emirates Mars mission.
So it's very integrated overall for students, for young people, and for also companies and things like that.
Yes. So we have like existing, for example, we have like existing SMEs who are working in the field of technology. But what we're doing is we're working with them closely to reskill them and make them develop parts of the mission. We have students who just graduated and actually start up their companies, and we're working with them and setting up these companies.
Yeah. So interesting that normally we would expect people working in science and space and these projects have come from a certain education and background. However, what we've seen a trend globally is that entrepreneurs are showing an interest in space exploration, such as Elon Musk with SpaceX, and Jeff Bezos has a space project. Jeff Bezos of Amazon has a space project as well. And, you know, the way that Mohammed bin Rashid Centre is working with entrepreneurs and allowing them to be involved is similar to that trend, would you say?
So it's slightly different, because at the end of the day, what we are focusing on here is to build sort of a local capacity and capability within the private sector to serve the science and technology sector, and to maybe develop products with this, either with scientific or a technological aspect to it. So it's more about supporting UAE's economy. Let's be very honest. UAE's economy and Dubai's economy relies a lot on technology. The majority of this technology comes from outside. There's some aspects that are being developed here when it comes to software, let's say, but application level. But you need to have some sort of activities locally when it comes to actually the hardcore technology that's deriving your economy, or supporting it at least. Of course, you cannot do everything, but you need to be part of the international sort of community that develops advanced technologies.
And do you work closely with the Future Acceleration Program and things like that as well? Is it part of a similar vision?
So yeah, the Dubai Future Accelerator Program have their own strategy and have their own projects, but all of us serve that same vision at the end of the day. So I mean, as I said, like you cannot just start through just the space program, expect to stimulate a whole sector like this. You need to have different drivers and players in the game, and the Dubai Future Foundation is an important player in that. Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center is another one, the academic sector in Dubai, and so on. So
within Mohammed bin Rashid's Space Center, there's Emiratis working there.
Yes.
But how are the kind of talents involved in these projects?
So we include universities in a lot of our projects. So a lot of the professors in the local universities are working with us, especially in the Emirates Mars mission, and they have students who are Emiratis and non-Emiratis who are studying here, who are actually working with us. So we try to include everyone and bring those talents through the academic sector in the UAE.
So this is one part of a project, and it's one part of everything that goes involved in running the country in a day-to-day. And so how else is His Highness involved? Are there other members running this and assisting with the program?
So His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed is actually the president of the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. And he actually oversees and supervises all the projects that we have within the center, including the Emirates Mars mission. So one of the things that His Highness Sheikh Hamdan actually gave the team at the initial phase of the project, after we made the public announcement about the mission and so on, he met with the team and he gave us very clear directions on different things. His number one thing was, I want leaders. I want more leaders in this field who will not only serve this field, but also we can use them in other fields and sectors in the country and in Dubai. And a good example of that is Her Excellency Sarah Al-Amiri, who is still part of the mission, and she is the deputy project manager for the science and the science lead. But she's the Minister of Advanced Science, and we have, for example, the other team leaders within the mission also, who one day will not only serve the space sector but other sectors.
Amazing. So someone part of your team and your environment is now on the running part of the government as well.
Yes.
That's incredible. Yeah.
And spreading that culture, sort of, the science and technology sort of driven sort of mindset within the government. And His Highness Sheikh Hamdan also gave us another requirement, was basically, now you're learning, but whatever you're going to come up with has to be more efficient and more innovative from the cost point of view and from the performance point of view. So that's why the Emirates Mars mission, basically, he's like, he said, like, you spend so much time in Korea and working with the partners and all that, but now you need to convert that knowledge and coming up with a cost-effective solutions for Dubai and for the UAE. And this is why the Emirates Mars mission actually has a very limited budget, I have to say, and it will be announced at the right time. A lot of people think we have open budget, and that's not the case. It's actually quite limited, and efficiency and effectiveness is a key element to the mission. So that's the requirement that was set to us by His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed, that the team has worked around, and
you're working
touch wood,
with,
alhamdulillah.
it's
So far,
going well.
yeah, it's going well. We are on schedule, on time, and working within those constraints that was set to us, and trying to achieve His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid's requirements and objectives for the mission, and the requirements set by His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed also.
Amazing. It must make it very rewarding when you kind of achieve these goals within, pushing boundaries
Yes.
as well.
Makes you more innovative and more creative.
Yeah.
It really pushes you out of your comfort zone.
That's great.
I mean, at the end of the day, as His Highness said, space is so as the UAE, when you look at it from the UAE perspective, there's a lot of challenges that we have, especially given the environment that we're in, the geography, water is a challenge for us, food is a challenge, clean energy is a challenge,
Yeah.
So it's about addressing these national challenges: food
Yeah.
security, water security, and energy security through Emirati startups.
Yeah.
And to stimulate those Emirati startups, a good driver to do that is space. If something is being developed to work around Mars, and it works around Mars, and if you're able to put a probe that orbits that planet, then there's a lot of the challenges that you have here on Earth that you can actually tackle.
Yeah, interesting.
Space is a good driver to also increase the quality of the industry within a nation. So if you develop a space-grade component, then commercial and industrial level and standards are easy to meet. So one of the things that we have in the Emirates Mars mission is that we worked with, for example, TPI, which is part of Tawazun, which built parts for airplanes, and actually we managed to work with them and got them to build parts for the Emirates Mars mission.
Interesting.
So they actually changed slightly their processes, their standards to meet space grade. So now they won't be able just to serve the Emirati or the UAE space sector, but they'll also be able to serve other international programs, space programs, by selling their products to them.
Amazing. So when we see things like, Richard Branson's kind of commercial plans for people to travel to Mars, that's kind of interrelated, but his purpose would be different to
Yes.
What you described is basically, serving the people here better, inspiring, and helping the kind of environment and life in the UAE through these initiatives as well.
Yes. So yeah, exactly that, and also supporting and creating the ecosystem needed for a stronger and more competitive knowledge-based economy.
Yeah. It sounds, saying the obvious, it sounds very complicated. It sounds, there's a lot to do to launch these missions that haven't been done, but there's also lots of different partners, whether it's, education, or whether it's commercial, or whether it's different sorts of part makers and companies. The CalifaSat launched from Japan, correct? And where will the mission to Mars launch from, and how does that happen?
Also from Japan. It will be launched from Japan. We actually look at different options. So what we do before selecting a launcher, we approach different launch service providers. We look at different things. We look at the heritage. We look at the reliability of the launcher itself, the availability, and also the capacity. At the end of the day, not all launchers can, let's say, put Emirates Mars mission in orbit and send it to, and for it to be able to then go towards Mars, because Emirates Mars mission, like the Hope probe, will be about 1.5 tons. It's quite heavy. So what we do is we look at different options, we approach them, and then we look at the price, heritage, capability, and then we decide. So we went through that process for the Emirates Mars mission, and based on that, we actually selected this similar launcher as CalifaSat.
Amazing.
And it was basically the best option we had.
So you have been working with Korean partners in the past, Japan,
Yes.
Colorado in the US, and
Yes.
lots of different companies, and it's a lot of Emirati companies involved as well. It's very diverse. There was also a cool announcement that caught people's imagination last year that Dubai, the UAE, are building a replica city of Mars. What's that project like, and is that something you're involved in?
So the Mars City is a project that's under the Mars 2117 initiative, and the purpose of that initiative that was announced by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid and by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed was basically because a lot of students used to come to us. They're like, okay, we're going to study sciences, we're going to go into sciences, and we're going to focus on Mars and so on. But then what's after Mars mission? So through the announcement, or through announcing basically the Mars 2117 initiative, which is a 100-year plan in which the UAE wants to be part of the international effort of putting the first human on Mars and to contribute to that, is that it guarantees basically career for the future scientists for more than 100 years.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a commitment for the government.
Yeah.
So it's basically government committing itself to the future generation that for 100 years you definitely will have jobs in this field. And basically the Mars 2170 is more about, supporting the international efforts of putting the first human on Mars. As you know, Mars is a dead planet. It's a difficult planet to live in. If you're able to put a human there and make him live there and basically survive on his own, then definitely there's a lot of the challenges that you have on Earth that you can tackle.
Yeah.
And use that same knowledge and technology to address these challenges.
They've done it in the movies, but not in real life.
Yeah. And as you know, like launching to Mars the opportunity comes once every 2 years.
Yeah.
So if you're going to send a human there, then basically it's going to take about 7 to 9 months for him to reach there, or her to reach there. And then they will have to stay there for some time, and then another 7 to 9 months for her or for him to fly back.
And so there's a replica city being built.
Yes.
To kind of simulate and understand the environment here, and with the vision of having a city in Mars in less than 100 years.
So it's more of like a facility that's being set up with different labs, analog labs, that offer sort of simulation of certain environment that's around Mars. So instead of sending something to Mars and test it and see if it works or it fails, you can actually test it here properly or more thoroughly before you send it to Mars. So that's the idea of having the Mars City here. So to have different kind of facilities and lab within that facility that will be simulating different aspects of Mars.
And is that something that's unique as well as that project?
Yes.
And will it start after this initial mission?
No, so it's an ongoing project. The team is currently working on the plans and finding ways to make it happen. So.
Okay, amazing. So they're interlinked. And what are the other plans for space exploration?
So the UAE is an ambitious nation. There's always going to be something new. There's always going to be something challenging.
Yeah.
As you know, a few months ago it was announced that we'll be sending 2 Emirati astronauts to the International Space Station.
Yeah.
We have, and they've been selected, Hazza Al-Mansouri and Sultan Niyadi, and they're currently going through the training program that they have. And getting prepared for the next opportunity they have to go to the International Space Station. So
always things coming up.
Yeah, much more things to come. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much, Omran, for your time this morning. It's been fascinating, and we'll really follow the story as it evolves.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.